friends, it's Diane, the Creative Inkster. Today is Tuesday, March 15th, and I'm here for a Technique Tuesday. I've been excited to make these lately. It started back in December when I was announcing my daughter's pregnancy and that the family would be expecting a new little one. And then it's just kind of taken off from there. So I wanted to show you how to make them. Here's one that I made for a swap with my team using the Waves of the Ocean bundle. And that's how it works. Try to hold it in frame there. So you've got the card and you pull the left and the right and up pops the piece. Kind of cool, kind of different. Oh, I should have said, oh, hi, Debbie. I should have said at the top of the video that if you're here, let me know you're here and watching. I've closed all my other applications. I don't know why Facebook wants me to do that, but anyway, here's another look at it. So I made this one, and then when my daughter was expecting, I posted this one, which says Greatest Wish Come True, which is with that ladybug stamp set, and it pops up, and I just had type this on some paper. Michelle and Kyle are expecting. So the same idea, and then a third one of a similar idea. I think this is for a swap. You'll notice the blue theme is kind of going on here. This was the otters, and then just having the otter pop up. So what I thought is I'd do a little bit more research and find one that's a little bit different. So the same basic mechanism idea is on this card, only the bottom is shorter. Rather than an entire panel, it's only 2 inches wide, and the whale just fits in there. You need something that fits between this 2-inch gap or it's not going to work. Yes, thank you, soon to be grandma. So placing the whale is a bit of a trick, so I'll show you how I did that. All right, so that's the one we're going to make tonight. I'm going to post all the measurements afterwards, so don't worry to scramble to write them down. But what you need is one piece of 8.5 by 4 1/4, and your 2 score lines are going to be at the left-hand side. They're scored at, oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this with the older version. They're going to be at the right-hand side. You're going to have it 1.5 inch and 3 inches in. So really, I just stick at my trimmer and go 1.5 and 3 and flip it around. So that's done. And then you need a piece of, that's an extra in case I mess up, you need a piece of 2 inches by 8.5, and you're going to score it at 1.5 and 3. So basically you've got your score lines on the bigger piece, which is on the back, and your score lines on the smaller or shorter piece on the right, and the score lines are on opposite sides. That's how you have this fold over piece. So if it was open, you have your score lines here and here, but when it's closed, you've got the longer side over here. So it'll make more sense if we start putting together. And then from Designer Series paper, you need a 4 by 5 1/4. That's the one I'm putting on the inside. And I also put a white on the back. It's also 4 by 5 1/4. So stick that aside. You need a couple of pieces, 1 3/4 by 5 1/4, and this just goes down the front to decorate the front of that panel, like that. And then 2 pieces, which are 1 1/4 by 4, and they're going to go here on this panel. See, one here and one here. So far we've got the back panel, this panel, and the front, and then we need 2 pieces here, which are 1 1/4 by 1 3/4, and they'll just fit over top like that. It would look great with flowers too, I think. And then one kind of key piece you need for the mechanism is 1 inch by 1 7/8, just a little bit smaller than your 2 inch, because it's going to go this way, so you don't want it to go past or even be the same length as your 2 inch strip. So 1 by 1 7/8, and then a little piece of window sheet, and that's what I have my whale on. That's popping up here, a piece of window sheet, so you can kind of almost don't see it. It's 1/2 inch by 2. And actually, it could be a little bit longer if you wanted. You're just kind of putting it on there however long you need it to make the item that you're popping up pop up. And then there's a couple other decorative pieces. I've got a piece of scrap for doing my whale, and then I've got a circle that's about 2.5 inches that I'm just putting over here for decoration. All right, so that's those pieces. So let's get started. Let's work on the big panel first, and we can just get our designer series paper down, because we need to get these 3 pieces down before we add the shorter panel here. So I hope you've had a good day. It has been quite snowy here all day. Not like the heavy wet stuff, but it hasn't really settled into a lot. Hi Valerie, welcome. So it's just kind of weird. It's been the wet stuff. Had it been rain, it would have been a lot of rain, or had it been thicker snow and stayed, we'd have been shoveling. So we don't have to shovel, thankfully, out there, which is good. All right, so I've put these 2 strips down here, which are 1 1/4 by 4. And then I'm going to put this pretty piece right smack here. This is this Waves of the Ocean paper. It's only going to be around till May the 2nd. So if you like it, grab it. We have foil paper as well that goes with. Again, though, those are just here for a promotional period and gone by May 2nd or while supplies last. It's just really so beautiful. And this is a different pattern in there. This one has a lot more green to it. All right, so we've got this part done. I just wanted to give it a chance to dry. And then what we can do is we can glue down the right side. So our piece here that has a 1 1/2 and a 3-inch score lines, leave those to your left. This piece is going to go down over here. You see, it's exactly the same length. So if we do that, then we can get the rest of the mechanism going. I'm just trying to see which way my folds are. You know what? Maybe we won't glue it down just yet. We'll put the tape on. I'm going to put this out in front. This is my little cheat sheet that I made, okay? This will help me put my guy together. So I'm sorry, I've moved them around again, but the scored edges are on the right-hand side. All right, and then I'm going to bring in the mechanism pieces and my tear and tape. So I'm going to put 2 strips of tear and tape here and 2 here. Just can't be wider than, I guess it's 1 1/2 on that side. So these ones are a little closer together. I found when I tried to put the pieces front and back together and then try to insert the mechanism, it was really difficult and so much easier to put them in this way while you have it still open. We want some tear and tape. You could use liquid glue, you could use Stampin' Seal, but just plain snail that we used to sell may not be strong enough for this kind of a 3D type card, 3D type project. Okay, so we got it. We've got our adhesive down. We've got our little fold here, and this is our straight edge. This is the inside of the card we're working on. We're working on the part that's inside here. Okay, so then we have our 1 by 1 7/8. And basically you're going to put this edge right up against the fold on your first piece. But we have to fold, and then we have to fold this piece down. So let's fold this piece down first. A little tricky. Cardstock is quite thick, but I'm doing my best. And you'll notice that it was kind of messy on my other one too. So basically I've taken it being 1 7/8 wide, and I've taken the right bottom and folded it up to the top line. So I have a wonky looking triangle here. It's not a perfect triangle because it's not a perfect square. Okay, so that's what we've got here. And we're going to flip it over. Here we go. We're going to put it like this piece up. The glue's going here, and it's going to position itself into the top corner where this fold is here. But it's this flap that's actually gluing down. Okay, so I'm going to put my adhesive here, and I'm going to use tear and tape. Liquid glue would work great, it's just going to take a little while to dry. So I'm going to put a strip of tear and tape and then just a little itty bitty piece that wants to, of course, stick to my fingers. So I'm going to peel this piece off. And if you get a little bit too much on the edge, you can just roll it back. We're trying to stay on that triangle that we created. Putting our adhesive on there. It's hard to kind of do in the air. There we go. All right. So with the sticky triangle facing this way, this point is going in this crease over here. I did this a number of times just to practice to show you. So there's our triangle, and it's going in the top corner where those strips are. So it folds down. That's why you don't want this longer than a 1 7/8. You don't want it longer than this. Okay, so we're back with it back up here. Now we can just use a glue dot on the window sheet. We'll keep those handy because we're going to use those on the whale as well. All right, so on the end of the window sheet, doesn't much matter where, put a glue dot. You can always cut this if you need to. And you'll see that it's sticking up here. See that? So on the fold over piece, we're going to stick it in here. So it's on the fold over piece. All right, that's the mechanism. That's the tricky part. Okay, let's get the card put together and then we'll decorate and get our whale on there. All right, so we have our piece, our large piece to the left. We'll fold the 2 scored edges over and fold the 1 scored edge back. Here we go. Now this piece here, this is the long segment. It's going to flip over and it's going to glue down over the short segment, the short piece here. So we're going to peel our backings off. Remember to put it face down and flush to the bottom right, like that. And before you think I've messed it up, this is folding up and this piece is folding into here. And then that folds over like that. You might need to do a little haircut. I didn't do too badly. Might need a little haircut once I get it to the edge if I see it sticking out a little bit. So we're going to peel the backs off of this. These are fun to make once you get the idea of how they work. So fold this over and this left edge, and the left flush with the left bottom, and then whoop, you can see the window sheet moving and it's come straight up here. All right, so let's decorate the other 3 panels with what we've got left. Here is our larger 5 1/4 by 1 3/4 inch piece, which is going to go here. Oh yeah, definitely need to get that color. I think I just used a bunch of different leftover ends for this. But it would look great, I think, with flowers and maybe the hedgehog popping up, something like that. And then these 2 pieces fit in here. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but that's the washing machine going. Sometimes I feel like it's an old ringer washer. It's so loud. So loud these days. Alrighty. There we go. Okay, we've got our little mechanism. Good to go. So now to decorate, let's get the whale on first. So I haven't used this in forever. Love this whale one. I do love You're Kind of a Big Deal. It's a cute saying, and it's something in our family that we joke around about because my daughter will say, well, I'm kind of a big deal, jokingly. And so we tease her about that. So I'm going to do them in Pacific Point. I know I've seen them done in like a purpley color for a whale, but I'm keeping with the blue. So, and I don't use Pacific Point often enough. So I'm going to ink him up and then stamp him here. And grab my corresponding whale punch. Slide that in. This is like a 3x3 scrap, which 3x3 is like, is it 3 inches? I should check that. Yeah, it is 3x3. It's just a perfect size for trying to get into a punch. You can grab the paper on either side to position it. Here we go. And there's our whale. So this part is the tricky. You're trying to make sure that when it goes up, he fits on the card, but then when he goes down into the hidey hole, he doesn't extend up or below. So you have to kind of fiddle with that a little bit. So I'm going to put a glue dot. I think the last time I did this, I went a couple of glue dots in a row just to get it to fit just right. So I will put a glue dot on the front of the window sheet piece, and I want him to come up so he's positioned. How does the other one look? Let's take a look at that. When he comes up, he's really quite straight on. So let's see what happens if we put him down in there. Yeah, and his tail sort of sticks out a little bit there when he comes up, so I can probably position it just a little bit more like that. And that helps a little bit, and then his tail isn't sticking out the bottom. Okay, and then it's time to decorate. So let's get our greeting on here. You're kind of a big deal. I'm going to do this in, looking for my cleaner. Where have you gone? It's disappeared. Got a couple of extra blocks here, good thing. Oh, I know where it is. So Monday, I don't know if I mentioned this last night, I took some craft supplies in to play with my co-workers. And so I packed up, I think, the cleaner in there. So I've got to get that back out, my Simply Chamois. Okay, so this is going to just go towards the right of the circle in Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to add some, ooh, yes, I'm going to stick my finger in the ink pad because that's what we do. I'm going to add some of these greenery things. Seaweed? I don't know if it's really seaweed. I wouldn't exactly call it seaweed. A little bit nicer than that. And we'll do this in Bermuda Bay. And if I do it, I can do it two-tone in Bermuda Bay. So I can stamp off once and then stamp this down. And that's kind of a light. You still there with me, or am I frozen? I hope not. And then, oh, and then take the smaller seaweedy piece and we can stamp that full strength in Bermuda Bay. So we'll do a full strength Bermuda Bay, and then maybe we'll do another one in Granny Apple Green just for some contrast. That's what you do when you don't have your chamois close by. You stamp it off a million times and that'll do it. Maybe do another one. There we go. And that just adds a little bit to it. Get those ink pads out of the way. And then this is just going to go on here with some dimensionals and some of these beautiful rhinestones. Rhinestone Waves Basic Jewels. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. So I like using my scissors to pick them up. I'll just add a bunch. 1, 2, wherever they seem to look like they fit best. Oop. Chasing this one around. 3. Okay, push those down. And then when you put this on with dimensionals, you just want to make sure that your dimensionals don't pop out here, because then when you close the card, it'll stick. So I'm shooting for here, here, and here. The safest bet is to actually put them on the card, which I don't always recommend. I always say put it on the smallest piece that you're working on. But in this case, I think that'll work just a little safer. 1, 2, 3. You can play with these dimensions, but I think this is a really nice way to do it with a smaller piece in front. And there's our finished card. Pop it up to visit. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm still good. Good to know. Thanks for watching, ladies. I really appreciate you coming along for the ride. I hope you have a lovely couple of days, and I'll see you back next week. Take good care. Bye now.